James, a 68-year-old man, was fit and spry for his age. Every morning, as the city was still waking from its slumber, he would set out for a walk through the streets of his neighborhood. It was his daily ritual, a habit that brought him peace and rejuvenation. His hair had turned white. His face bore the lines of time, but his eyes still sparkled with a youthful glint. He often thought back to his younger days, when he was a college student chasing dreams and discovering the colors of life. Now, retired, his life was a steady, orderly tale. Peaceful, yet somehow incomplete. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the city and a cool breeze brushed against his face, James embarked on his usual walk. He wore his favorite jacket, an old but comfortable one that had become a part of his life, and stepped out of his house. His route took him through a beautiful park where children played, birds chirped, and people went about their daily routines. The park was a captivating scene for James, a place where he often paused to soak in the atmosphere. That day, as he passed near the park, his eyes fell on a young woman standing by a small bench, gently fixing her hair. Her long, golden hair swayed in the breeze, and her smile was like sunlight breaking through clouds. James's steps slowed involuntarily. He had seen many beautiful faces in his life, but there was something special about this woman, a simplicity, an innocence that touched his heart. He was surprised at how his gaze kept drifting toward her. Later, he learned her name was Olivia, a 19-year-old young woman full of life's vibrancy. A strange restlessness stirred in James's heart. He couldn't understand why, but something urged him to follow her. He tried to stop himself, thinking it might be wrong, but his heart wouldn't listen. As if in a dream, he began to follow Olivia. He trailed her for nearly a mile, through the park's paths and into the city's narrow streets. Olivia's steps were brisk, but James kept his distance, watching her every movement, her walk, the way her hair swayed. Everything about her drew him in. Finally, Olivia stopped at a small coffee shop and went inside. James let out a long breath. He stood outside for a moment, hesitating. Should he go in? Was this right? But his heart pulled him inside. As he stepped into the coffee shop, a warmth enveloped him. The shop was small but beautifully decorated. Colorful paintings adorned the walls, wooden tables were neatly arranged, and soft music made the atmosphere even more inviting. The aroma of coffee filled the air, and James felt as if he had stepped into the pages of an old book. He chose a small table and scanned the room, searching for Olivia. But she was nowhere to be seen. His heart sank. Had he followed her to the wrong place? He ordered a coffee from a waiter and waited anxiously. The mug warmed his hands, but his attention wasn't on it. He kept glancing at the door, hoping Olivia would reappear. Just as he was about to leave, he saw her. She was wearing the coffee shop's uniform, holding a tray, her smile as radiant as ever. James's heart raced. Olivia approached his table and asked in a sweet voice, "Sir, would you like anything else?" For James, the moment felt like a dream. Words escaped him. He could only gaze into her eyes, lost. Olivia smiled again and headed back to the kitchen. A strange mix of joy and unease filled James's heart. Would he ever find the courage to speak to her? After that day, James's heart never quite returned from the coffee shop. He thought of Olivia all night, her smile, her voice, her manner. The next morning, he returned to the coffee shop, this time with a flicker of hope. It became his new routine. Every morning, he'd go to the coffee shop, choose a corner table, and order a cup of coffee. He watched Olivia, sometimes at the counter, sometimes chatting with customers, sometimes working in the kitchen. He was enchanted by her every gesture, her smile, her way of speaking, the little habits that made her unique. James noticed that Olivia had a special kind of magic. She spoke to every customer with such warmth, as if they were old friends. Her face always carried a genuine smile, and her eyes sparkled in a way that touched the heart. To James, Olivia was a light that was slowly dispelling the darkness in his life. Weeks passed, and James still only watched her from afar. He wanted to talk to her, but his heart would race and words would catch in his throat. One day, when Olivia was at the counter, he mustered his courage and approached her. "This coffee is really good. Do you make it yourself?" It was a simple question, but for James, it was a huge step. Olivia laughed and said, No, that's the chef's magic. But thank you." Her smile shook James's heart again. He wanted to say more, but words failed him once more. Olivia moved on to another customer, and James returned to his table, lost in his coffee mug. Yet a small victory warmed his heart. He had spoken to Olivia, even if just briefly. Months passed, and James's visits to the coffee shop became a habit. He started having short conversations with Olivia about the coffee, the weather, or the shop's decor. Olivia always responded cheerfully, but James felt she saw him only as a customer. Still, he cherished every conversation, every smile. One day, he noticed Olivia looked downcast. She stood at the counter, but the usual spark in her eyes was missing. James's heart grew restless. Gathering his courage, he asked, "Olivia, is everything okay?" She took a deep breath and said, "Just some family issues. But don't worry, I'm fine." James gently replied, "If you ever feel like talking, I'm here every day." Olivia looked at him and, with a small smile, said, "Thank you, James. That's really kind of you." It was the first time she had said his name, and for James it was a priceless moment. That night he couldn't sleep, filled with joy. A new hope stirred in his heart. Maybe Olivia was starting to like him too. As time passed, James and Olivia's friendship deepened. James shared stories of his life, his college days, his dreams, his quirks. Olivia opened up too, revealing that the coffee shop belonged to her late father, and now she and her mother ran it. She also shared her passion for art and her dream of becoming an artist one day. One day, James said, "You should show me your paintings. I'm sure they're beautiful." Olivia blushed and replied, "I only make sketches for now. Maybe one day." A spark of hope lit up in James's heart. Eventually, James decided he wanted to meet Olivia outside the coffee shop. He asked her to meet him at the park. After a moment's thought, she agreed. When they met, James gave her a small gift, a sketchbook for her drawings. Olivia's eyes lit up with joy. "You really think of everything," she said. "Most guys don't." After that day, they began meeting often, at the park, by the river, or strolling through the city's streets. James loved everything about Olivia. Her laughter, her playful nature, the innocence that set her apart. He knew he was falling in love, but he feared confessing his feelings might ruin their friendship. A year passed, and James and Olivia's bond grew stronger. James decided it was time to share his feelings. He chose Olivia's birthday, a special day that meant a lot to her. Knowing she loved watching the sunset by the sea, he asked her to meet him there. When they arrived at the beach, the sky was painted with hues of orange and pink. The sun was slowly setting, and the waves sang a soothing melody. James took Olivia's hand and said, "Olivia, before I met you, my life was an incomplete story. You completed it. I love you." Olivia looked into his eyes, a strange sparkle in hers, and smiled. "James, I love you too." It was the most beautiful moment of James's life. He hugged Olivia, and they watched the sunset together, sharing moments of pure happiness. James and Olivia's story became the talk of the town. People spoke of their friendship, their love, and their devotion. A few months later, James proposed to Olivia, and she joyfully accepted. Their wedding was a beautiful celebration, attended by friends and family. Olivia wore a simple yet stunning white gown, and James looked dashing in his black suit. The coffee shop, where their story began, was specially decorated, filled with love and joy. After the wedding, James and Olivia expanded the coffee shop. It became the city's favorite spot, not just for coffee but for the story of James and Olivia's love. Their tale touched every heart, a reminder that love requires patience, courage, and faith. James saw Olivia, loved her, and made her his. Their life became a beautiful dream, each day bringing new joy.